Hello, my name is Nardine Starabarov, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. So today we are talking about New Year's resolution. I know it's a new year, and for most of us, when we think about New Year's resolution, it helps us to take a pause or even anticipate a time of growth, and it's also a time of reflection. But New Year's resolution can also be riddled with stress and anxiety when we find ourselves making plans or goals that are not as achievable as they should be, or maybe we find ourselves not really being consistent and going after these goals. And the other part to that is that because this year has been so tumultuous, just the idea of making New Year's resolution can be really overwhelming or daunting to even think about that. And for those who are married or in a committed relationship, this past year has been really overwhelming, having to be home with balancing life and family and work and maybe children doing some sort of distance learning. And you found yourself to be together all the time in close proximity. And because of that, you might have found that it has created some friction in your relationship. So one of the things I thought about in terms of what can help couples to really boost their relationship this new year, and the idea of two heads are better than one came up for me because I'm thinking that having New Year's resolution can help us to have a goal and can help us to be more motivated in our relationships. So when we think of the idea of two heads are better than one, I think of the fact that we can really take our plans and kind of like break them down to like bite size, and just having the other person having mutual goals along with you can help you to have some sort of accountability, and it's also a motivator to going after your goals. So today we're going to discuss 6 resolution steps that you can take with your spouse in order to boost your relationship this new year. So the first one really is to be able to spend time to reflect. And I think that is so important because we can gloss over some of the things that have occurred this past year. And I think just even to be able to spend that time with your partner and talk through some of the difficult emotions that you both might have gone through this past year, and just really to dig in and learn about each other's inner world. And I think what it does, it just really truly brings you emotionally closer to your partner, but it also helps you to have more empathy when you understand some of the ways that they have dealt with this past year's just uncertainty and so many other difficult changes to your daily routine. So I think that the first step is really to take time and reflect and pause with each other. The second step is really to show appreciation. I find that a lot of the couples that I see have been together a lot this past year, and it's so easy to take each other's presence for granted. When you see someone day in and day out, you kind of get used to it, and it can be easy to not acknowledge the little things, such as your partner taking out the garbage or even bringing you a cup of coffee. So I think it's really important to continue with healthy habits of appreciating each other. The third step is to set aside time for your relationship. Again, a lot of times, just because you're around each other doesn't mean that you're spending quality time with each other. So even if it's about 15 minutes that you can carve out of your day to just check in and asking how the other partner is doing, and just even getting to have a cup of coffee in the middle of the day, or tea, or just having some laughs together. But it is important to be able to make that time priority in your relationship, to be able to check in at least 15 minutes a day. The fourth one is to take a project together. And I find that to be really invigorating for a lot of couples who can pick something, whether it's renovating a room in their house or doing some sort of outdoor project. That is often something that truly brings couples together, especially when the hustle and bustle of everything else that's going on. But to have something that is focused on working together really helps couples to reconnect and to just really have fun with each other. The fifth one is to make time for intimacy. A lot of times couples can find themselves so busy that they don't really prioritize intimacy. And one of the things that I encourage busy couples is to really schedule intimacy time. And I know some of you might scoff at the idea of planning intimacy, but a lot of times if you don't, you find that area start really deteriorating in your relationship. And that's something that's really important. So before you scoff at the idea or think that it's not spontaneous enough, think about how your intimacy is going and maybe try it out and see whether that's something that would help to boost your intimacy. And the final step, which is step 6, is to make a plan. One of the things that I hear a lot is that if you don't have a plan, it just doesn't happen. And especially if that plan is written out, it's even more beneficial. So before you enter 2020, sit down with your partner, sit down with your spouse, and write out a plan for what you desire a relationship to look like, and go for it. This is Nardine, and thank you for watching.